Hello and welcome to Coin Stories, an interview series dedicated to learning about Bitcoin, the world of crypto, and digital currencies, explained through the eyes of some of the most influential voices in the space. They've been in Bitcoin for years, and in that time, it's had booms and busts, but they remain steadfast in their belief that this technology will change our lives. And while right now we are seeing a correction, Bitcoin remains up hundreds of percent since last year, and these advocates all remain undeterred in their commitment to crypto. I'm Natalie Brunel, and I'm a journalist based in LA. You may know me from my other podcast, Career Stories. Like many of you listening, I don't have a background in finance or cryptocurrency, but I am passionate about learning the best ways to save and invest my money. I first dipped my toes in Bitcoin back in 2017, not really understanding it or knowing much about it. But when the pandemic hit and the market crashed along with Bitcoin, I began to spend a lot of my free time educating myself about the stock market, the history of money and central banking, global economics, and of course, Bitcoin. I think I read The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous 3 times. I highly recommend it if you're interested in this space. Learning about Bitcoin has been fascinating, intimidating, and it's changed my perspective on my life and my financial future. Just for some quick background on me, my family is first generation in the US and money was tight growing up. I was raised with the values of hard work and saving as much as you can. My family came here like so many, just wanting a better life and to be part of the American middle class. But fast forward not that many years, and if you're in the so-called middle class, it's harder and harder to afford what previous generations could, especially for millennials. It seems like no matter how much you try to save, it's just never enough. So I was really fascinated by the opportunity Bitcoin presented as the first digital form of sound, scarce money that can't be overinflated or corrupted and is available to everyone. Many of its supporters refer to it as a savings technology, where your money should be enough. If you put it away to save, it shouldn't be devalued just sitting in a bank account. Now, it is volatile. This is no surprise to the people who are Bitcoin evangelists. It is shocking for investors who are new or FOMO'd and bought it when it climbed to over $60,000. But Elon Musk, this too shall pass. In this podcast, you'll hear from some of the most recognized and followed names in this space, including Plan B, Robert Breedlove, Anthony Pompliano, Raoul Pal, and more. And we'll talk about their backstories, how they came to discover Bitcoin, and their take on the philosophy behind this growing digital asset. Whether you're new to Bitcoin or a devotee and already follow the big voices, you'll get something out of this series. And if you're super new to Bitcoin, I was there and I know what it's like to have some of the terminology go over my head, so I created a glossary to help fill in some of the gaps. Bitcoin is a scarce digital currency that is decentralized. It's not under the control of any government, entity, or corporation. You can buy, sell, or exchange it directly without an intermediary like a bank. Satoshi Nakamoto is essentially the father of Bitcoin. That's the name used by the pseudonymous person or group that conceived of Bitcoin and released the so-called white paper introducing Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system on October 31st, 2008. If you recall, that was at the peak of the US Great Financial Crisis. A Satoshi is also a division of a Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is equal to 100